Good morning to everybody, first of all. Second of all, I wanted to go ahead and touch down on my personal life experiences currently and something a bit more lighthearted, man. There's always some more serious shit popping off. You'll see that I don't ever really speak about the serious bullshit that I'm going through personally in regards to maybe, altercations or static or personal financial struggles. I don't speak about that shit because I don't really prioritize me. And it's all about reality and solution. Y'all motherfuckers don't log on here to hear about my life problems. We're putting our minds together to develop solutions regarding our planet's destruction and evil, sinister individuals and major positions of wealth and power, okay? That's the priority, bro, right? But every now and then, I'm going to touch down on something not so serious that I'm going through personally, in the name of solution, efficiency, right? So, if it was more serious, I wouldn't even waste your time with it. I'm not trying to... Everybody's dealing with enough serious bullshit as it is, enough anxiety, so on and so forth. I feel that it's within my ability to deal with my own bullshit, homie. I'm not going to put any of it on anybody else, homie. I'll deal with it myself, you feel me? Me and my familia, homie. But check this out, when it comes to the lighthearted shit, I have a vehicle. It was that van, you see me make videos... posted in the van, did videos throughout the years, homie, in the van, and then we got a new vehicle. It's a lot more reliable, it's newer and shit, and we're appreciative of that, saving up our finances, continually progressing, and we didn't get this vehicle after the stimulus, homie. If you go back and see when we got this vehicle, it was before any stimulus check was handed out. So it's not like, oh, well, we got a one-time stimulus check and finally we're able to get a new... Nah, bro, we've been progressing financially due to discipline and restraint, due to not wasting our time, energy, and money on alcohol, pills, dope, materialistic bullshit. You know what I mean? Vacations, bars, partying, liquor, raves, traveling, camp. There's a lot of things that we would like to do, like even just camping, fishing, and so on and so forth, But it requires resources, it requires investment, it requires time and energy and money. And we are... basically just living as if discipline is the priority right now. As if just being alive, not dying and not being murdered, fool. Not being rounded up by a corrupt government or murdered by some miserable, desperate, restless op or enemy. You know what I mean? Those are things to reflect and I'd be grateful for, homie. So that's why we don't really require all the other unnecessary bullshit, and that's why we were able to financially progress. Because we don't feel like we require so much. We're not entitled to so much, homie. We're obligated, fool. That's it. To earn the air we breathe and to be efficient and to not misappropriate our time, energy, and resources, homie. So regardless of whether, a lot of people are handing welfare money, regardless of us not receiving money via SSDI. That's what it's technically considered when you hear about people getting welfare for free. It's SSDI, Social Security Supplemental Income or Disability Income or something like that. I know I should know the exact terminology, bro, but come on, dog. Bear with me, bro. It's a lot to remember, homie, a lot of technicalities. But people are basically being allotted welfare money because they claim they can't function, even if it's because they're smoking meth and drinking and popping pills, and they walk into the Social Security Administration building or whatever it is, and they're covered in piss and they're sweating, and they've been up for like 3 or 4 days on meth. They don't care that the individual's on meth, homie, or on dope or on alcohol or whatever. All they care about is the fact that the individual seemingly can't function, and then they give them free money. That's what's going on, bro. There's no breathalyzing. There's no drug testing, homie. Period. There's none of that. All right? So, the people are being rewarded for being on dope. Being delirious as hell. It's called drug-induced psychosis. You do lose your mind eventually due to alcohol and or dope. You know what I mean? Some people, it takes them 50 years to lose their sanity. Other people, it takes them 5 months. But it's going to happen eventually. And if we have a system that rewards people for dope, we're encouraging drug-induced psychosis. We're encouraging mental illness, homie. Because we're seeing these people come in at a point to where they're not totally mentally ill yet, right? They're not past the point of no return due to the repeated drug use. But because we don't believe in accountability, they're not being drug tested or breathalyzed, they're just being handed free resources. We're basically saying, go ahead, continue doing meth, continue doing dope, and reach that point of mental insanity, homie. Period. Because we're not going to do anything to hold you accountable and prevent that. How in the hell does that make sense, bro? What kind of world does that make sense in? You know what I'm saying? But anyways, I wanted to touch down on the fact, more lighthearted, right? And more in regards to my personal life. We got a vehicle. We paid off all the payments on the van, homie. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't get a hold of the title owner. Keep in mind, we're the registered owner because we got the van from dude. Long story short, we were working at a car lot. This fool owned the business that we were working at because he's a trust fund baby. He was handing all kinds of money and stuff from his family. This dude's addicted to meth, all right? He ended up losing his business. And even though we paid him the money for the van, he never signed the van over to us. So technically, we aren't the title owner. We're the registered owner. We've been paying the registration. We're the registered owner, but not the title owner. I know it sounds weird, but that's how laws and rules in our society, it's just a circus. I mean, it doesn't revolve around what's right. It revolves around profit margins and a bunch of mayhem, bro. So we paid the payments. He didn't sign the van over. We tell the DMV, hey, man, we can't get a hold of this dude because he's on meth. His business closed down. He lost his business. He doesn't have a home anymore. We don't know where he's at. You know, and he never signed this over to us. The DMV says, well, it's your responsibility to track him down somehow. It's not our responsibility, so on and so forth. I'm like, what? Bro, that's crazy as hell. They said, but there's an exception. You know, you can pay us $500 and we'll just sign the title over in the form of a surety bond or some shit. So I'm saying, wait a minute, homie. You want us to do your job for you, bro. You know, and if we're not willing to do your job for you and track down this individual and force him somehow to physically sign the van over because we paid for it, bro. You know, if we're not willing to do your job for you, we got to pay you $500. See, that's a monopoly, homie. That's a crock of shit because this fool smokes meth and throws his inheritance and livelihood away and can't be physically tracked down. He doesn't have to follow through with his responsibilities and sign a vehicle over. That's crazy. Now, because the vehicle hasn't been fully signed over and we can't track him down, we can't sell the vehicle. We can't even take the vehicle to a junkyard, homie. We can't even have somebody pick it up or even get it towed ourselves to a junkyard and just get rid of it. Not getting any money, nothing, just get rid of it. You know? We can't even do that. Because the law states that if you're not technically the title owner and you only have the registration in your name, you can't junk it or sell it. And if you can't track this dude down, then, well, basically you're screwed and you have to pay $500. That's crazy as all hell. There could easily be a law saying that, hey, man, if you sell a car to somebody and a certain amount of time goes by, hey, it's your responsibility. You either have to, you notify the DMV, hey, these people either paid me the money, you know what I'm saying, and the vehicle's theirs, or, hey, these people haven't paid me the money and the deadline's up, you know what I mean, so a decision has to be made, right? But instead, this individual can receive all the money for the vehicle and then just take off and neglect his responsibilities, and it's the recipient, it's the purchaser's responsibility to figure out how to wipe his ass and clean up all his mistakes for him and somehow get him to sign the title over. That makes zero sense, and that's the kind of shit that I'm dealing with on a less serious or more lighthearted level that I wanted to share with you, homie. So you guys don't think that regardless of what you're going through, you're alone. You know, you can already do the deductive reasoning, kind of piece together what serious things, you know, others may go through, people like myself may go through when it comes to being in the field, believing in solving disputes and issues ourselves, not relying upon law enforcement, people being jealous and restful and creepy and resentful. You know, it is what it is. I mean, but when somebody stands for what's right and they're not self-obsessed and they don't rely upon law enforcement, bro, they're not rewarded. I mean, they're despised by the fellow human beings. I mean, and there's a lot of attempts made on their life and their livelihood, bro. And so just know that if you're struggling, regardless of your circumstances or the injustices you're experiencing or navigating, you're not alone, fool. We're all going through some bullshit because society's a circus, fool. It doesn't revolve around integrity, solution, sustainability, efficiency. It doesn't revolve around what's right. So that's why we're going to all experience a lot of wrongdoings. We're all going to have to go through some bullshit that's wrong. You know, but you're not alone in that. Real shit, homie. Stay patient, stay disciplined, and reflect on your health and freedom, and know that you're not alone in that, homie. But unfortunately, what is very rare, homie, and what we are alone to some degree in, is appreciating our health and freedom. You know, 99% of our populace refuse to reflect on what they've been allotted in life, the opportunities, their good genetics, homie, the fact that they're not paraplegic, they're not blind, they don't have a life-threatening ailment or cancer. You know, there's a lot to be grateful for internally, but that's not really prevalent, homie. That's where our movement comes into play. Real shit.